So in this video, I'm going to be going over the workflow of VJudge, which is an online curation tool for competitive programming that brings together several online judges to one location. So Virtual Judge doesn't advertise themselves to be an online judge. In fact, there's no judge component to this tool. It just is associated with a lot of online judges, which is in competitive programming. So competitive programming tools, typically what they do is they run contests and they can invite different students to compete in these contests, and points within these contests are given via a combination of the time that it takes to complete a problem, the efficiency of the code, as well as the number of mistakes that you make throughout solving that problem. So in this video, I'm not going to make any commentary on whether I think this is a good idea for a classroom. This is really just meant to be a demo on setting up a contest and using this tool for teaching purposes. At no point am I going to give any of my opinions. If you do want a full opinion on on what I think about these tools, please take a look at my blog, and it is going to be linked in the description below. So if you go to the Virtual Judge main page, it's at vjudge.net, you'll see that there are a lot of online judges that it's associated with. So these are actually very popular, and there's a lot of problems located on these judges. The ones that I use the most are ones like CodeChef and HackerRank and Caddis, but they're all really good. So if we jump over to HackerRank for 1 second, under the Prepare tab, we'll see that there are different languages that you can have a look at all these problems that are available. So for example, we can set the difficulty to be easy, and let's say that we were going through an introduction to programming, basic data types, strings, as well as math. Maybe there's other things that we're testing on as well. So we want to have some practice problems for those subcategories. So for example, if we take a look at one of the problems, you'll see that there's a task, there's input and output information, and generally these problems require the students to type in the code, and for all of their inputs, all of the inputs that are here to match the outputs that are expected given their code. So you can see that in this example, we can type directly in the text box that's given here. But for HackerRank and for other online judges, there are typically an ID for all of the problems. Now for this one, for HackerRank, it's the string that comes after challenges in the URL. So for example, if I take a look at another problem, the unique identifier for this problem is here. So we can go back to Virtual Judge, and you'll see that I'm logged in currently. And if we go to the contests, we can go to My Contest, and we can create a new contest. And let's say that I want to create a contest for the purposes of my classroom. So I want to have the students have a practice, or I want them to be able to do an icebreaker in the classroom, or for some other assessments. So what we can set up is a type of contest. We can label this contest. I'll just call this practice 1. I will set this as let's say 227, and let's say the length is 5 hours is actually pretty good, but I will set this to 1 hour just for the purposes of this demo. And there are some rules associated with how scores are assigned. So as I said, there's a standard ICPC set of rules, and you can also customize the rules, but I think for the purposes of the classroom, the standards are pretty good. You can look for other things that you can award points for, but here we can set the contest as well as set it as protected, and when it's protected, you'll have to provide a password in order for someone to submit something to the judge. And you can provide a description as well. So we can say this is strings, data types, and math, for example. These are the subjects that we're covering in this contest. So for the problem set, we can add problems from any of the online judges. So you see here again, we have the list of online judges. I'll pick HackerRank because I like one of the problems from there. Remember earlier, I just copy and pasted the ID of that problem, and pretty much immediately it'll tell you whether or not that problem exists. If you do a typo, it'll actually tell you that that problem doesn't exist. We can give the problem an alias. And there was another problem that I was interested in. So for example, this one, arithmetic operators. So I wanted to just copy and paste this. So at any point, if I make a mistake, it'll tell us there's no such problem. So we can also give it this problem an alias and so on. So if we go to, for example, another website, if we go to, for example, Caddis, there's also other problems that we can look up. So under problems, we can again take a look at we can do a search on the difficulty. We can again do a search on the types of problems that there are, the category, sorry, the tools that we'll need in order to solve that problem. So pretty much this is true for all of the online judges out there. So there are a lot of problems to choose from. So let's say I really like this problem. And so I want to add this problem also to our virtual judge. And again, every judge has a unique ID for every problem and usually exists somewhere in the URL. So if we just take a guess at this, I'm not sure 100% whether this is actually the ID, but let's grab that. Okay, so it'll tell you whether or not that problem actually exists or whether they're able to find that problem. So that is where we're gonna, that's the one that we're gonna be using. And let's say I'm happy with this right now. So I'm just gonna confirm. Oh, the time has to be later. So right now it is 2:29. So I'll make it at 2:30. And so you see that there's a countdown clock and the ID, the contest ID will be given here. So this is the thing that you're going to be giving to, I guess, all the students for the contest. So let's say I'm a student and at this time at 2:30, I'm going to go over to the contest and you can see that this is what it looks like. So it will show you the problems and they can work through it either independently, or if you're using this in the classroom as like an icebreaker, or you're using this as just, you know, a class activity, then you can even put people in teams. You can have them go into teams and solve each one of the problems and they can compete with each other. And again, the points that are awarded for solving a problem correctly are based on time, based on correctness, based on how many mistakes you make, as well as how efficient your code is. So so for this one, if we wanted to submit something, so we actually need to include the password that we had before because this is a protected contest. We can select the language here. This in particular, because it is constrained by HackerRank, you see that we only have 2 languages that we can choose from, and we can, you know, whatever, we can do our answer. This is obviously the wrong answer, but we can actually work on this on, you know, some IDE, make sure this actually solves the problem that we want to solve, and then we can submit it. This is giving us some feedback of, you know, there's a constraint of how many characters, but it will give us a feedback of whether or not it passes or doesn't pass the tests. So that's basically how we would run this contest. We obviously, the idea is that we want to be able to solve all of these contests, and we can come here and we can take a look at the rank. Once we submit something, we'll be able to see the rank of all the other people as well. Usually this rank is going to tell us what the score is, what the score we have is, and what the penalty is. Penalty meaning, you know, the amount of time we took, the amount of mistakes that we made, and so on. So this is a nice tool for incorporating into the classroom and for students to kind of interact and to collaborate with each other. So so that's basically all I have for today. So thank you for watching. I'll see everybody in the next video.